For the past few years, I've been facing an issue with using both headphones and speakers when on my PC. It's a pain switching between the two all the time. Well, NZXT aim to fix that with their new lineup of relay audio equipment. That's not the only thing that all of this can do though. It's designed to be a total audio solution for your PC. Let's find out if it's any good, shall we? Hi guys, I'm Matt and welcome to Kit Guru and to my full review of NZXT's new lineup of audio equipment called Relay. The overall package consists of 4 components: a headset, some speakers, a sub and a headset stand / audio mixer called the SwitchMix. Going all in on the whole system will set you back a fair few quid though, but you don't have to buy it all if you don't want to. The headset retails for 90 quid. The bookshelf speakers go for 230 quid, the sub costs 120 quid, and then finally the SwitchMix is also 120 quid. So all in all, you're looking at 560 quid for the whole setup. Definitely not cheap, however you look at it. So this stuff just simply has to perform really well to make it worth that sort of outlay. I'm going to run through each component individually, talking about the usual design, build quality and pros and cons, and then I'll show you how it all works together as a total system. Let's start with the headset then. The Relay headset has high-res audio certification, 7.1 surround sound, memory foam ear cups and a detachable cardioid microphone. They've got a frequency response range of 20 to 40,000 Hertz and they weigh 269.5 grams, so 270 grams. The design is very much in NZXT's style and you can tell it's one of their products just by looking at it. They come in either black or white and I've got the white model here for review. There is some subtle NZXT branding on either ear cup, which is only a very slightly different shade of white to the headset itself. It blends in really nicely and it's quite hard to notice unless you go looking for it. The microphone attaches to the left ear cup and as I mentioned, it is detachable. The cushions on both ear cups and the adjustable headband, along with the yokes, are all black, giving that classic black and white colour scheme to the overall design. One thing I was really pleased to see on the Relay headset was that the yokes are metal and have no moving parts to separate them from that same metal piece which runs through the headband. One downside to this is that they don't fold flat, but they are designed to work with the SwitchMix headset stand / DAC, which we'll look at in more detail shortly, so it doesn't matter to me too much that they don't fold. The white parts covering the outer ear cups and headband are plastic, which is commonplace on gaming headsets that are around the £100 price point. The headband flexes quite a lot, but it doesn't feel flimsy at all. It's adjustable and it easily fits my pretty big head. The braided cable is detachable and the jack port feels very snug when plugging the cable in. The Relay headset has good build and sound quality. The bass is not as deep or present as I've heard on some of the headsets that I've checked out, but it is there. For gaming though, bass isn't that important, especially when using surround sound to place sounds inside whatever game it is that you're playing. I find the mid frequencies are more important for positional audio. The cups and overall sturdiness does feel good, and the fact that the yokes and the headband are one piece of metal gives me confidence that they should last. But obviously, take that with a pinch of salt as I've only had them for testing for 2 to 3 weeks. Comfort is pretty good. I've mentioned in previous reviews that I prefer mesh ear cups over leather or similar materials. And while that's still the case, the ear cups on the Relay headset don't bother me too much, even when taking the warm weather we've had in the UK recently into account. I've worn the headset during some pretty lengthy Diablo 4 gaming sessions, although my interest in that game's died a bit now, and they've never been uncomfortable or caused any sort of fatigue. Now, one thing that I think the Relay headset could do better on is the surround sound. It does work, and to an acceptable level, but changing the surround sound mode in NZXT's CAM software makes little to no difference to my ears. But by far the thing that has annoyed me the most is the cable. It twists up so easily, which, to be fair to NZXT, is a problem that's common on most headsets and not just this one. On several occasions, I've had to stop talking to my mates on Discord for a second to unplug the cable and straighten it out. And then there's the dial on that cable, which is used for changing the volume, and there's also a toggle switch for the microphone. It's very easy to turn and can sometimes get caught on my shirt, which turns the headset down. The first time this happened, I checked everything on my PC before looking at this dial. It needs some stepping, in my opinion, just some rigidity to the action of turning it rather than just free spinning. The detachable cardioid mic has a frequency range of 100 to 10,000 Hz, and as I said a minute ago, it attaches to the left ear cup via a 3.5mm audio jack. Here's a sound test of that microphone so you can hear what it sounds like. Hey guys, this is a quick mic test of the NZXT Relay headset. Let us know what you think of the audio quality coming out of this little microphone in the comments down below. Now, I think that mic is perfectly suitable for its intended purpose. Chatting with your mates and gaming and stuff like that. It's clear enough, it gets loud enough, and it will work perfectly for calling out bush campers. When you've had enough of wearing that headset though, you can easily switch outputs to the Relay speakers. The system has a really clever way of doing that, which I'll go through when we look at the SwitchMix in more detail. Focusing in on the speakers for now though, they are smallish. The MDF cabinets measure 115mm wide, 186mm tall, and 160mm deep. And again, they have that distinctive NZXT design available in black and white, just like the headset. Sound output is handled by a combination of 3-inch glass fibre bass drivers and 20mm silk dome tweeters, delivering 40 watts RMS and 80 watts peak power. Now, as I just mentioned, the design of the Relay speakers is very on brand for NZXT products. The cabinets on the model I have here are finished in the same matte white soft coating as the headband and ear cups from the headset. The finish doesn't pick up fingerprints easily and has stayed looking clean and dust free for the whole time they've been on my desk. The driver, tweeter and a small section at the bottom of each cabinet are black, and they stand out nicely against the white coating found everywhere else. The speakers sit on top of a full rubber isolation pad, which also serves the purpose of keeping them in place on your desk. Although you're not limited to keeping them on the desk as they are, as there is a 4mm thread on the bottom of each cabinet for sticking them onto wall mounts or sticking them onto additional isolation solutions. The left speaker houses all of the inputs and outputs, as well as controls for power and volume. The speaker can handle inputs from 3.5mm and RCA connections. The left and right speaker are connected together with standard speaker wire, which terminates at some really good quality and chunky threaded connectors. Now, as well as the coating, the overall construction and everything about these speakers feels really good quality. They feel really well made. The knobs and dials on the back all feel good and they don't wobble or move about at all. They're all really solid. Overall, build quality wise, these speakers, although rather small, they do feel really good quality. And for their size, these speakers sound great. They deliver some great sound on their own, which is taken up a level with the addition of the sub that we're going to talk about in a minute. They look really sleek and professional in my opinion, and don't look like your run-of-the-mill gaming speakers. They've got that NZXT look to the design, just like the headset, and when both are on a desk together, they give a nice theme to the design, and you can definitely tell they're part of the same Relay series of products obviously from NZXT. One thing I have noted that could be improved upon with these speakers is there is sometimes a bit of a delay in the speakers waking up when they've gone into standby. The light on the front of them will turn off once they've been left for a while, and they'll turn back on when they detect audio coming from a source, my PC in my case. But it isn't instant all the time, and I've sometimes had to turn them back on manually by reaching for the power button on the back of the left-hand speaker. But other than that, I've not had any major issues with them. They sound and look pretty good. So moving on to the subwoofer. The Relay sub is an optional addition to the Relay speakers, which will, as the name suggests, add a whack of bass to the sound coming from the setup. It's basically a black box that houses a 6.5-inch downwards firing bass driver, which will bring some more low end to the Relay audio system. The sub measures 211 by 254 by 312mm and is strangely only available in black, unlike the speakers and the headset, which I have in white. That's not such a big deal though, as the sub is designed to sit on the floor under your desk, so it's not seen all that often. The cabinet, which again is finished in the same soft touch coating, but obviously this time in black, houses the 6.5-inch driver, which as I mentioned is downwards firing. There's a decent sized sound hole on the front of the unit, which does move a good amount of air when the sub is cranked up. On the back, you'll find controls for volume, crossover, and variable phase, so you can fine-tune the sub to suit any setup pretty much. Crossover allows for the adjustment of the frequency at which the speakers roll off, and then the sub kicks in at the low end. And then the variable phase is just a digital delay which helps with micro-adjusting the sound to help balance the positioning if you move it off-center. Alongside these controls, there's an RCA port for connecting it to the speakers and a power switch and then a power cable port. The sub has the same good quality build as the speakers. It's got a nice weight to it. It feels solid when you pick it up and has that reassuring quality and that heft to it that is often found on decent products. There's that feeling of quality when you hold it. Just like the speakers, the knobs and dials feel great. Overall, I feel like it's worth the money, to be honest. The low-end frequencies produced by this sub are smooth and silky. There's no distortion at any volume level, and I've been enjoying running this thing with the volume and crossover dials both cranked to the max. Music that is low-end heavy like drum and bass or rock sounds great, and gaming on the speakers and sub combo has been a pretty good, really immersive experience. And as for things that I don't like about the sub, there's not a lot really. It's a set and forget sort of thing. Once I'd had a play with the settings and found that I just wanted all of the bass all of the time, I just let it sit under my desk and do its thing. I'd like to see a white version released to fit in with the colour scheme of the rest of the relay system, and I don't really understand why NZXT didn't do this from the off. But as I mentioned, it's out of sight and out of mind most of the time, so that isn't really a major issue. And finally, to round out the NZXT relay audio setup, we have the SwitchMix. This is what really brings the package together. On the surface, you'd be forgiven for just thinking that this is a fancy headset stand, but it can do a lot more than that. It is indeed a headset stand, but it also has a genius trick up its sleeve. The top of the stand features a pressure-sensitive pad that the headset sits on, and this pad will automatically switch the output device from the headset to the speakers. No messing around with switching audio devices within Windows. If the headset is on the stand, the speakers are active. If you pick the headset up, it'll become the active output device without you having to touch anything at all on your PC. This alone solves an annoyance I've had for years, and I'll never go back to clicking buttons like a caveman. As well as the convenience that the SwitchMix brings to the setup, it's also a 24-bit 96,000Hz DAC, which will help push the audio quality of any connected speakers or headphones, and it contains a volume dial and crossfader for easily mixing between game and chat volumes. The SwitchMix, in essence, comes in two parts. There's the stand, which looks just, by all accounts, just like a standard headset stand. Then there's the mixer / DAC, which sits on the base of that stand and attaches to it with a 3.5mm audio cable. The stand is roughly a foot tall off the desk and it's all black, which again, just like the sub, I'd like to have seen some white used to complement the speakers and the headset. And the mixer is coated in that same soft touch plastic as found throughout the whole setup. It's pretty small and unobtrusive when on a desk and looks pretty neat in my opinion. The build quality of the stand itself is great. The main frame is made from metal and feels really solid. I wish I could say the same about the dial on the mixer, but unfortunately it does wobble a bit. And with it being the part that's going to be moved and adjusted the most, this does concern me slightly. The same goes for the crossfader. It wobbles slightly in its housing and it could be better if I'm honest. The mixer is held in place by feet that slot into a plastic base on the bottom of the stand. And this system works well. The stand does not move easily and it holds everything together pretty well. The software seems to be handling the switching of the volume level first before the switching of the output source, and this sudden jump in volume before the system recognises that the headset is no longer the active output can be quite jarring. the audio level will jump up for a second when you put the headset down and the volume moves over to the speakers. It will blast out at the volume of the headset and not the volume of the speakers for a second. I'm pretty sure this is something that can be fixed with a software or a firmware update though, so NZXT, please fix this as soon as possible. Now, the system works quite well together. I've been impressed with it. Setting it up was relatively simple and the instructions provided by NZXT were clear and easy to follow. The SwitchMix can be used with different headphones, which is especially useful if you want to use dedicated headphones and then a separate mic, like I've done with the Elgato Wave 3 and my Philips cans. There are some customization options available in NZXT's CAM software, which allows you to change the EQ and surround sound settings, but as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. The system supports Dolby 7.1 surround sound and it works okay. It doesn't blow me away, but it's alright. I've used this setup for an extended period of time to really put it through its paces, and gaming has been great. Directional audio is fairly precise, although the sound staging isn't as good as my open back headphones, but it's good enough. I can't really go much further than that. Music wise, the speakers and the sub really pack a punch for their size. When turning all the levels to max, you'll get clear, non-distorted bass out of the speakers, that is, non-distorted bass-rich sound that will be well suited to like EDM and rock and music types like that. Music types that really come to life with a bit more bass in them. They're fun sounding speakers that will cater to bass heads quite nicely, and for their size they definitely bring a lot of noise. Overall, I really like this system and this audio gear from NZXT. While it isn't cheap, I'll happily admit that, you do get what you're paying for. This isn't a cheap set of computer speakers. These things will happily compete with some of the more audiophile gear, especially the stuff from Edifier that I've checked out recently. Then tacked onto that is a lot of convenient features that are more aimed at gamers. I feel that the relay setup would be great for anyone who likes to dabble in music production and game on the same computer. You've got the best of both worlds. A good quality headset to stick on your noggin when you're playing some games, and then some really punchy speakers that will make your next tunes come to life. Now, while I do like them, they're not perfect. There are a few niggling issues that either could have been done better or need fixing. The volume dial on the headset spins way too easily and needs some stepping adding to it. The speakers sometimes take too long to wake up when they've been powered off, and the lack of any crossfade in the volume levels when changing output devices just needs to be addressed as soon as possible. But other than those few issues, the relay audio setup from NZXT is something I wish I'd had years ago. Gone are the days of fumbling to change audio sources. You don't even need to think about it when using this kit, and that alone has been a game changer for me. The sound quality is great. The innovation I was really impressed with. The functionality could do with a little bit more polish. The build quality has impressed me quite a lot. There's not a lot to dislike about it, maybe the price. But overall, I've really liked using these and checking these out. And that's the end of the video, guys. Please leave a like down below if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to Kit Guru to keep up with the latest PC gaming news and reviews. I've been Matt. This has been a whole new setup of audio gear called Relay from NZXT. I'll speak to you in the next one. Look after yourselves. See you later.